My dear friends, welcome to Sur Sangam Reflections from Jaipur. We are in the 11th ordinary week of the year. Today, I would like to discuss with you the aspect of leadership. Jesus is a great leader. He does not have any authority of the world. He doesn't come from a priestly class, but his authority comes from within. He is a charismatic leader, and he himself says that he has received it from the Holy Spirit at River Jordan. What does Jesus do? He comes among the people, he preaches to them, and he has compassion on them. He works his miracles in such a way that people are liberated from all sorts of diseases, all other ways by which they are suffering in the world. He is their friend. He is the one who walks with them. And ultimately, he dies on the cross for them. He fights for truth. Similarly, from among them, he chooses the 12 people whom he calls the apostles, prerit. In other words, they are called so that they can be with him, and then they can go and preach the good news as he himself does. Whom does he choose? He chooses from different segments of the society. He chooses, for example, those who are fisherfolk. He chooses Peter, Andrew, and he chooses the sons of Zebedee. They are all from fisherfolk. Then he chooses Matthew, who is a tax collector. He also chooses Simon, who is a zealot. Zealot were those who were fighting to overthrow the Roman government. All of them, different segments, they come to him, they gather around him. Now he has prepared them to go out. That is the leadership Jesus expects from them. My dear brothers and sisters, the world has had leaders from all times, both religious leaders, political leaders, or otherwise. We have had wonderful leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, who came into the world like a prophet. He worked for the people, he died for the people, and he was a man of great compassion and understanding. We also have another example of Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. He worked so hard that he wanted slavery to be abolished, and for that he had to lay down his own life. On the other hand, we have had leaders like Hitler, who killed the people, the Jewish people, 6 million of them. And we have many other leaders, both religious as well as political, who have misused power. Power, my dear friends, is terrible. It can be used or misused, wherever you get it. And very often we misuse power. प्यारे भाई और बहनों, हमें अधिकार कहां से मिलता है? अधिकार ईश्वर से मिलता है। और आज हम देखते हैं प्रभु अपने अनुयायियों को इकट्ठा करके उनमें से 12 को वो चुनता है और उनको कहता है जाओ ईश्वर का राज्य को फैलाओ, और वो जाकर ईश्वर का राज्य फैलाते हैं। प्यारे भाई और बहनों, आज भी हमारे बीच ऐसे लीडर हैं, नेता हैं, और वे इस संसार में भी हैं और अपने देश में भी हैं, जो हमारा देखभाल करते हैं। लेकिन अक्सर क्या होता है, जब हमें पावर यानी हमें अधिकार मिल जाता है, हम अक्सर दुरुपयोग करते हैं, क्योंकि हम केवल अपने बारे में सोचते हैं, हम स्वार्थी बन जाते हैं, और इसीलिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा हम उन पर कठोर कानून बनाते हैं, अलग अलग प्रकार के कानून, जिससे लोगों को हम दबा सकते हैं, और ये गलत है। प्रभु आज अपने ही जिंदगी को हमें बताकर कहते हैं हमें ऐसा नहीं बनना चाहिए। करुणा, अनुकंपा, इसकी जरूरत है। इसीलिए प्रभु कहते हैं ये लोग यहाँ पर हैं, वो पीपल विदाउट अ शेपर्ड, विदाउट द शीप, विदाउट द शेपर्ड, यानी ये जो सब भीड़े हैं, तितर बितर होते हैं, वैसे हैं, उनको देखभाल करने के लिए कोई भी नहीं है। तो आज हम विशेष रूप से प्रार्थना करें कि कलीसिया में भी और हमारे पॉलिटिकल लेवल में भी ऐसे नेता उत्पन्न हो जो करुणा के प्यारे हो, जो अपने आप को समर्पण करने के लिए तैयार हो, जो प्यार से उनके देखभाल करें, उनके अगुवाई करें, और जरूरत पड़े तो अपने आप को ईश्वर के सामने लोगों के लिए न्योछावर करने के लिए, अपनी जिंदगी समर्पण करने के लिए तैयार हो गए। इसके लिए हम विशेष रूप से प्रार्थना करें, क्योंकि हमें ऐसे नेताओं की, ऐसे अधिकारियों की जरूरत जरूर है, लेकिन ऐसे अधिकारी मिलना बहुत बहुत जरूरी है, और केवल ईश्वर ही हमें ऐसे अधिकारी देता है। थैंक यू एंड गॉड ब्लेस यू।
Jesus lived in a town on the shores of a big lake called the Sea of Galilee. It was a fishing village. One day, as Jesus was walking down the shore of the lake, he saw two men in a boat. Like many of the village, these were fishermen. They were tossing their nets into the water for a catch of fish. Their names were Simon and Andrew. "Come, follow me," Jesus called out to the men. "I will make you fishers of men." Would they come? Would they really leave their nets, their boat, and maybe the fish they just caught? Didn't they have jobs, goals, dreams? But without even hesitating, Simon and Andrew got up, left their nets and jobs behind, and followed Jesus. Then Jesus, Andrew, and Simon, also called Peter, continued walking along the shoreline. There in the distance, they saw three men in a boat, fixing their fishing nets. These men were James, his brother John, and their father Zebedee. When Jesus called them, they responded. Immediately, John and James dropped their fishing nets, jumped out of the boat, and left their father Zebedee. Jesus' call was profound, and though they had never met him, God's power enabled them to respond to his call. These ordinary fishermen were embarking on a journey that would change their lives forever. Jesus could have called any person of stature or leadership, but instead he called lowly fishermen. He knew that God's power would be greatly displayed in these ordinary men. In a few years, they would become the messengers to spread the gospel to all the nations of the world. A great task indeed. In the end, Jesus chose 12 disciples. These men would be scholars, learning from Jesus for the next 3 years. He would teach them about God, obedience, and love. He would explain to them why his coming was so important. Their sole aim would be to proclaim Jesus as the Messiah, him crucified and resurrected. The names of the 12 disciples were Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew, James, Thaddeus, Simon, and Judas.